rest. I just decided to come out here into the elements, actually by the waterfront, so I can talk freely about the water, but I'm also receiving all these light codes rather than staying at home. So the water element is very present in these times, and it's manifesting in emotions, through the emotions. And emotion is energy in motion. And so if we allow the energy in motion, awesome guys, if we allow the energy in motion, it really moves through like a river. And through our lifetimes we've been conditioned to build dams around our emotions, either to contain them, to keep them safe, to guard them. And most of this is just been done social condition, really. And eventually we don't even realize at times we have all these little dams or pockets of energy which is getting stuck in our body and in all our fields, in all our layers, energetic layers. So I talk about the water breaking at the moment because we are magnetic beings. We are electric and magnetic, and there's water within, right? The planet, we're in a planet, in a sphere, in an orb, in a earth ship, that it is magnetic and it's electric, energetic, and it's full of water, right? So we are receiving all this energy coming from the sun, all these upgrades to start steering the water. Hence, we're going through a lot of purging and purification. And we're all where we need to be at the moment. Some of us need to be in places where there's actual physical water going through, moving through, clearing, cleansing. And the dams that have been built socially in different places are being broken, are being opened, so that energy releases. You see, the energy needs to flow. When we contain energy in our minds as thoughts, we can become quite obsessive, quite neurotic. If we contain emotions, we're building dams to keep our emotions safe or concealed. Eventually it gets so overwhelming. We either enter in grief, in shock, in freeze mode, or in fight mode, and our emotional being becomes very stressful, and then we don't know what to do with it, and then hence there is all this anxiety, right? It's just emotional energy, energy that is not in motion. So energy needs to flow, and right now we're really focusing on the energy of water, your inner waters. And the inner water is also the flow of energy that is moving through your body. So emotions are very at play at the moment, and we are being prompted to really release the emotion. Just really release it, open up to it. Sometimes we try to find the story immediately. Why am I feeling this way? Finding the why. Then how am I going to let this trickle? I have no idea what to do with this energy. I'm suddenly feeling that I cannot sense it. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's coming out of it seems that it's coming out of nowhere. So ideally you recognize it, you accept it, and you allow it through the breath, through being present in your body with the emotion. Because through the energy in motion, then all this new space gets created in the body, because you release, there's movement, there's flow, and so there's more space for the new. And we're entering a passage, a very interesting passage. I know there's always something happening, and the reason why people that are more sensitive to these energies, or that we're connecting to this higher spiritual sources or information, we always come forth, and sometimes it seems that we're saying the same thing, but it's really important that we are bringing in all this information now for people out there that are starting to understand or realize that something else is happening beyond the physical and mental aspects in life. There is a spiritual aspect in life, there's a social aspect in life as well at play, and so they go hand in hand. You see, when we lose the social dimension and we just focus on the spiritual, we can become fanatics, right? We just can't kind of disconnect, disengage. When we just focus social aspect, and forget the spiritual, then we become disconnected from the spiritual source. We become depressed. There's no sense to this life. Everything becomes really heavy. We're carrying the world. So we need to start connecting these two areas of the social interaction, the me being human in this reality, and also being a spirit, being connected to spirit. Yeah, that means I need to connect my mind with my emotions, my thoughts with my emotions, the flow of my thoughts as energy coming in through in thought forms, and the energy from my heart flowing, right? And so it becomes a sacred partnership, and that's how we start becoming more in tune with who we are. Otherwise, we become disconnected, and that's not a place where we want to be in this moment, right now, because it's very obvious right now we need more than ever connection to ourselves first, and then to others, right? So we need to go back to that. And the energies at play at the moment, we're about to enter obviously the full moon tomorrow in the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius being the symbol or the archetype of the truth seeker, but also the truth bringer, the new technologies, new ways of doing things, going a little bit against the grind, bringing new ways of interaction, but also it's an archetype for the human being, for embodying who you are, being in your body, being present. And we're entering the time of no time as Mayan calendar, which is the 25th. And this is also a very auspicious time to go into that space of no time within yourself. All your timelines, all of those thoughts that you're constantly projecting of what you want, where you want to go, your desires, all of that. You can kind of you're constantly out there. It's time to kind of bring them all into one single cell, one moment. It's like in between the breath. Yeah, and we talk a lot about the 0 point, because actually that's what's happening on the planet in a bigger scale. We're going through this birth canal, this 0 point. The water has broken. We are about to be pushed forward really quickly, really rapidly, and already it's happening. Already people out there are starting to realize that there's no normal. There's no going back to anywhere. It's only going to keep changing, and it's all about the choice of what energetics, what frequency, where are you connecting yourself to, what is your highest timeline, where is your neutrality point? Are you going to keep being engaged out there, focusing in what you don't want, which will only kind of magnetize it, because we're magnetic beings. So where you place your attention, it's exactly what you're going to bring forward in your life. So fine tune where your attention is at this moment. And of course, there's always that call of compassion. Compassion means looking at the other as there's no other, looking at the other as myself. And when we realize the other is me and everything is about me, not in the sense of egocentrism, but in the sense of everything is a reflection of me because I am creating this. And if we all do that, then we realize very, very quickly there is no reason to be fighting anything or anyone. And it's more about bringing ourselves back together as a new tapestry, a new way of being. And that is actually the new way of creating a new structure of society. Because the society we're in, definitely it's pretty much broken. It's pretty much broken. It's this disconnected. It's very disjointed. It's very chaotic. And the reason why we're seeing all this social breaking, disconnecting, and sometimes at times very against each other realities and dimensions happening at the same time, it's all a reflection of ourselves. So the focus is, again, everything that I'm experiencing outside of me, it's a reflection of what's going inside of me, and vice versa. So then I can recreate from there. I can grab it from there. What do I want to experience now? What is it that I really want to convey and project? This is the work we need to do if you are into this kind of, if you understand the energy dynamics of manifestation and creation. Because it's time for the leadership to step up. And the leader we're all leaders. There's no outside savior, leader, or guru. Those are archetypes that at some point were very helpful to learn and understand who we are. But it's really now, again, the age of the Aquarius, the age of the human being, which is back to yourself. So how are you leading your own life? How are you leading others? How is your discipline and your connection to your own mind and heart and emotions? Is your energy in motion in a way that you feel is like a river flowing? Or you stuck sometimes, or you're creating dams, or you're resisting this energy. And when we pay attention, then we realize that it's very easy to start shifting and moving and dancing with it, right? And there's no other way. This is the fastest way, because also we're all interconnected. So if we all start realizing that we are free, sovereign, empowered, amazing creating beings that hold light, that hold information, that receive energy, and we can focus and direct it towards the highest, most possible, highest timeline for you and for humanity, then it's really, really quickly we're going to start creating a coherence. It's like a sound, you know. It's like when you join a party and everyone's singing, and suddenly you feel like everybody can hear everybody sing, and it just keep coming up, and the sound is so amazing, and it feels so uplifting. You're suddenly part of something, you see. This is an opportunity here. All crises as strong and as hard as it seems at the moment, they're opportunity to reevaluate. Where are we heading, and how can we pivot? How can we change? And so it is that moment of joining. If you are one of those creators, manifestors, light warriors, workers, this is your time to really roar and step into the full expression of who you are in whichever way you are. If you're in places where there's a lot of chaos and purification and purging and flooding and all of these magnetics of all that broken society, maybe it's the reason for you to be there is to hold the light. Absolutely hold your light there. And that is where you need to be. If you're in a moment where you're inside of yourself because life for you right now has been very difficult and you're struggling and it feels really heavy and you kind of feel lost, that's okay too, because you're being shown how or where you have placed dams in your emotional, in your energy in motion in your life, so that you accept that you touched ground and you release the struggle and you go deep within, and maybe all you need to do is allow that to happen. Like the breakage of the seed needs to break its husk before it goes, and it has to go through a moment of darkness before it reaches the top to spring out, right, and become a glorious tree. But if you're in that place of the seeding, it's the hardest place to be, absolutely the hardest place to be. And I commend you, because it takes courage, corazón, heart, to go through a crisis, and also to observe a world that feels like it's breaking apart, but in a good way, because every crisis leads to a pivot or a change of direction. The problem is when we're trying to hold the crisis, we're going to prolong the crisis, or we're trying to control the crisis and direct it towards our own end or an agenda. And that's where we need to be really, really aware that we are not recreating, re-energizing, and projecting, putting more fire into the crisis with repeating stuff that we don't know for sure, or getting into that fear propaganda and the constant whatever it is that distracts you from the fact that you are in charge of your emotions, your flow, your growth. Empowering. There is no victim mentality here, truly. And I know sometimes it's very harsh. People go, what about this, and what about people that are actually suffering? But if you understand with your heart and compassion, everyone is it's going through what needs to go through, and everyone is where it needs to be. So transverse this passage of time of no time. Take an opportunity on the 25th to really step into that 0 point within you, and access that neutrality in within you, truly. to then project and manifest and direct with your intention and your heart where you're going and where humanity is going. So I'm just gonna leave it here, and I'm just gonna receive a message in that language which is coming through right now. So just whoever needs to hear this needs to hear this. Reawara ekwara ekwara estiwaya ekaya seara haramahe etiapuaya. Irania ekisi enehaya ekwa asatetoa. Ina alahiane ina ahaya. Ara ekwaya ara emahana ekwaya stia. Efakiawa ara ekostina. And before I get, looks like my connection is going and my battery as well. So I'm gonna leave you with this. I will bring forth a heart illumination activation for those of you who are willing to receive this code to illuminate and expand your heart and open up more all those dams within, so to release all stories and all programming as well, so that we really step into purity of intention, purity of the heart in this time, so we become beacons of light and pillars of light for everybody. I love you guys. Mucho amor. Aloha. And we'll see you soon. HASHTARA'stan.